تنفعنا وانفعنا بما تعلمنا وزدنا بفضلك علما وتعليما إنك على كل شيء قدير. بسم الله. Where is this? Can I just share these slides with you? You can send them out. You can send them out in the group.
Yeah, I can send them out.
Yeah. How am I going to do that in a second?
We can send it afterwards to the
yeah, I'm just going to send it on Gmail. Okay. Who can summarize for us Surah Ikhlas that we did last week? What is it? Who can paraphrase it? What does it say in general? Should email us out.
Huh?
What email should I send it to?
SSTAD 925.
SSTAD
925 @gmail.
SPAD925 @gmail.com, right?
Yeah.
So Bismillah, who can summarize Surah Al-Ikhlas? قل هو الله أحد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم قل هو الله أحد الله الصمد لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد.
Surah Ikhlas talks about the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Okay. So what does Ahad mean then?
Allah is only one.
Mm-hmm. So how is that related to being Samad? What does Samad mean?
Samad is he's the most how you can say Samad.
So the thing that everyone else needs. That was Samad. Right?
Allah is the one that everyone
else needs. So what's the relationship between being one and everybody else needing him?
He's the only one that can help everybody.
True. But what do we say about being one? And if it's not made out of parts? So we said Ahad means one, but it's not made out of parts.
He's everything.
Kind of. Abdul Rahman, remember?
I'm trying to think. I'm sorry.
So we said that when things are made out of parts, when we look at this microphone, right? One thing, we need the wire, we need the button, we need all these different things. Because it's made out of parts, there's necessarily some level of need. This needs this, that needs that. And so when anything that's made out of parts has to need each other. And so that's impossible. If everything else in the universe needs Allah, but then Allah needs parts of himself, then it's not possible. It has to be something that's completely free of need in every single possible sense of the word. He doesn't need time, he doesn't need space, he doesn't need his arm, he doesn't need his leg, he doesn't need his eye, his brain doesn't need his lungs doesn't need his heart, etc. Right? And then that was summarized and made super easy so everyone else can understand. For example, Allah doesn't need to have parents. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. He didn't have kids, nor does he have a father or a mother. So he doesn't need to have a mummy and a daddy like little kids do, and doesn't need to have children like elder people do. Why? وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ كُفُوًا أَحَدٌ. There's never anything like him. Right? Somebody asked me the question today, where is Allah? What's the answer? Where is Allah?
He's closer to you than you are.
There we go. True. What else?
He's everywhere.
He's everywhere.
Yes.
Okay, but before he was everywhere, and before he created where was he?
Everywhere.
So he was everywhere before. Okay, before he created? So now there's this place and this place and this place, all these different places. Before he created space, where was he? So does it make any sense to ask a question? Where is Allah when he created where? Right? And similarly, right, so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything, but he made where, and he made space and time. So you ask when is Allah, it's like, well, that doesn't mean anything. Where is Allah doesn't mean anything. Right? Even you say, why is Allah? That also doesn't mean anything, but it sounds like it means something. It doesn't mean anything because it says, when you say why, i.e. what caused Allah? So well, nothing caused Allah, so it doesn't mean anything either. So it's like asking, where is 5 o'clock? I don't know where is 5 o'clock. Where, like 5 o'clock is a time, has nothing to do with space. Okay, but when is Germany? Like when is it? I don't know. You know? So it would make sense if you assumed, if you thought in your mind that Germany was a time, but it's not a time. And if it made sense, if you say, oh, where is 5 o'clock? If you thought 5 o'clock was time, so if you thought Allah was like me and you thought that he was a kufr, you thought that if in your mind, which we do, we think of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's like another one of us, but just nicer and more powerful, then he's in a certain time, certain place. But he's not like us. He's not a more powerful version of Farhan. He's not a nicer version of Haman. He's not a cleverer version of Sa'ad. He's completely different. So it doesn't make any sense to even ask the question, where is Allah? Or why is Allah? Who is Allah? So the Prophet ﷺ asked a little girl. He asked a little girl, where is Allah? And she went like this. Pointed to the sky. Does that mean that Allah is in the sky? No. What it means is, how does she express herself? How can she say, well, actually Allah's aspatial? You'd be like, mashallah, aspatial, that's a big word. You know? She's not going to say that. How would you express that anyway in Arabic? How would you just say, like, Allah is above everything. He's not in, for example, he's not that idol over there. That's what she's saying. You know that idol over there, is that Allah? No. Allah is above that. Okay, khalas, I understand what you mean. Right? We have to, people can only express themselves as they know best, right? If you ask me, Carl, where is Allah? How would he answer? Right? Maybe like something like that, right? But is Allah in the sky? If Allah is in the sky, what does that mean literally if Allah is in the sky? So here's planet Earth, right? Here's sky, and here's sky, and here's sky. That means Allah is a circle. Allah is a bubble that the Earth is in. That's what you mean by above. If you said Allah is in the sky, he's the sky here, 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 here. That means there's the Earth, and the Earth is in a bubble called Allah. Is that what you mean? No. Doesn't make any sense. And in reality, Imam Ghazali has a wonderful thing. He says, what does it mean when you say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is above? The word above only makes sense to us because of the way we are. I have a body with two sides, right? Imagine if I was a triangle. If I was a triangle, I wouldn't say right and left. I'd say right, left, and something else. If I was a square, I'd be like this, this, this. My language, my way of thinking is because of the way I am. Because I stand on my legs and my head is up, I say up, down, right, left, forward, backwards. If I was a ball, what's right and left to a ball?
Nothing.
Like, imagine your friend is a ball. You tell him, go right. It's like, what's right? Right only makes sense because of the way that we are. So in respect to Allah, there's no right and there's no left, there's no up and no down. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't have hands and doesn't have arms and doesn't have legs. He's not above us, not below us. Right, in the dua in the Hadith Sahih Muslim, أنت الظاهر فليس فوقك شيء. You are the above and there's nothing above you. وأنت الباطن فليس دونك شيء. And you are the inner and there's nothing beneath you. There's nothing beneath Allah. We are not beneath Allah and we are not above Allah. وأنت الأول فليس قبلك شيء. And you're the first. There's nothing before you because it's not in time. وأنت الآخر فليس بعدك شيء. And you are the last and there's nothing after you. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is before time. Right? My kids were stoked because they watched, you know that you use the word stoked? It's like a surfer term.
They say so.
Gnarly is this, right?
Yeah.
You say rad?
Yeah.
That's old school though.
Yeah.
Okay, they were stoked because they watched the film, was it? Land Before Time, right? Dinosaurs, right? So well before that, before the dinosaurs and before these things was Allah. Again, after everything is Allah. Before time and after time, right? And so there's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is way beyond that. He's beyond space and beyond time and beyond cause and beyond this. He's something else.
So like when people do descriptions, that's bad, right? Because like if people go to the hands of Allah, you're like,
It's true. No. This way, how that's an expression. It's in the
that's
hands
an
of Allah,
expression, okay.
right? Allah. That's what
But then
the.
sometimes like people may take it the wrong way and actually believe like.
That's true, but that's in the Quran. It's like that. We say, "Ihdina as-sirat mustaqim." Where's the sirat?
Yeah.
Right? Guide us. You say to Allah, "Guide us a straight path." He's like, "Well, do you mean that road, that road?" I don't mean either, bro. It's like, it's a metaphor. It means, you know. So there's only metaphor. We all speak with metaphors. That's how we speak, right? إن الذين يبايعونك إنما يبايعون الله يد الله فوق أيديهم. Right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, those who give bay'ah to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and say, we're with you thick and thin, whatever happens, right? إِنَّمَا يُبَيِّعُونَ Allah. They're only giving bay'ah to Allah. They're doing this to Allah. They're holding Allah's hand and saying thick and thin, but is Allah going to die? No, there's no hand. يَدُ اللَّهِ فَوْقَ أَيْدِيهِمْ. Allah's hand is above their hand. If we took it literally, what does it mean? Right, I'm going to give bay'ah to Sa'ad. Those who give bay'ah to Sa'ad, they're only giving bay'ah to Allah. That means Sa'ad is Allah. If you take it literally, that's what it means. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this relationship is not with Muhammad ibn Abdullah. Your relationship is not with a clansman. Your relationship is not with a human being. Your relationship is with Allah. I have sent my messenger to you for you to show your loyalty to me, but you're only giving bay'ah to Allah. You're not giving bay'ah to this person. How else do you express it then? So if you say, well, I can't use metaphor. Yadullahi fawqa aydihim. It is the hand of Allah. When they do that, it's Allah's hand that's above their hand, not the Prophet's hand. Right? But that doesn't mean the Prophet is Allah. Right? Similarly in the Bible, the slaves of Allah is described as the son of Allah. You are like a son to Allah. If your son disobeys you, do you hate him? You might be angry. You might punish him, but you never hate. You always love your son. You're angry because you love your son. Because you love your son. Right? So in the Bible, it talks about the slaves of Allah as the sons of Allah. So it's a parable. It's a metaphor. Right? It's a way of talking. But then they take it literally to mean actually the son of God. Right? You're not actually the son of God. It's impossible. Right? لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد. Okay. جزاكم خير. Okay, now we're on to Surah Falaq. So Bismillah. So Surah Falaq, notice it comes in the context of Surah Al-Ikhlas. So it comes after Surah Al-Ikhlas. We've just mentioned Allah, Qul Huwallahu Ahad, which is turning to Allah. Only Allah can help you. Allah is completely different. Turn completely to Allah. He is the explanation, the reason for everything else. That's Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And then it says, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Okay? And the Prophet ﷺ, he said, say Qul Huwallahu Ahad. And the two ma'awudhatayn, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq and Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, 3 times in the afternoon and in the morning, and they will suffice you from everything. Right? So they're very, very important surahs. And the Prophet ﷺ, he taught one of the Sahaba to recite the 3 quls after every single prayer. So it's something we should do in our adhkar after the prayer, to do Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Qul Huwallahu Ahad, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq, and Qul a'udhu bi rabbin nas.
Seriously, you share slides.
I have slides, but I can't share them. Yeah, confidential. I've sent them to the group, but that's about it. So I don't know how else to share them. Okay, so what did we mention last week? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says Qul, what did that mean?
Say.
Tell them, right? So we said, why is that strange? We already know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, say all of these words. Right? When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends us a messenger and teaches us the Quran, we have to say these words anyway. We already know that. So what was strange, what was novel, what was different is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala specifically says, say these very words. So these are particularly important. Right? Particularly important. So it says, Qul a'udhu bi rabbil falaq. A'udhu, we did this before when we went in the Fatiha. Who can remember what a'udhu means?
I secret.
Can you remember any words that related to it? A'udhu. There were 2 words that we mentioned. Isti'adha, good. That means seeking protection. But there's certain words that help us understand this word a'udhu is the word a'udh. A'udh means newborn lambs. That's called a'udh. Right? And a'udh are newborn lambs. What's the relationship between saying a'udhu billahi and a newborn lamb? What's the relationship? Okay. What's the relationship between the mother sheep and or the ewe and the lamb? No, not you. You're not related. Yeah, that's dinner. That's the relationship between you and the dinner. That's something else.
You like that newborn lamb.
You knew that one. Who is that newborn lamb protection?
You were the one newborn lamb.
Yeah, and so the newborn lamb can't even eat grass. Yeah. All he can do is everything is born usually in the middle of the winter, absolutely freezing. All they have is mama. That's all you have. So you are a baby lamb and you're seeking protection. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's nothing to protect you. Right? That's al-'udh. Right? Similarly, al-'udh, if I was to do paintballing, and Abdurrahman would hide behind that pillar, that's called 'udhatu, his protection. That's the thing that he's hiding for. That's called your 'udh. So you are this little baby lamb. You have no way to protect yourself, from the shaitan, from the dunya and everything. So you're saying, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. A bad idea comes to your mind, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Right? So what's the difference? Useful thing. What's the difference between good people and bad people? Yeah.
What's good, what's bad?
Okay. Do good people have bad opinions?
Yeah.
Right. So here's the difference between a good person and a bad person. I'm walking down the street and I see Abdurrahman closing his door. Right. He closed his door. A bad person has a bad opinion about Abdurrahman. Some idea comes to his mind and then he accepts it. Abdurrahman is closing the door and he's got drugs in his car. Comes to his mind. The good person also has a satanic thing that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, Abdurrahman's selling drugs. And he says, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. That's the difference. You're the same person. Does a good person have opinion? Does a good person want to kill somebody?
No.
Yeah, they do want to kill somebody, but they don't do it. The bad person wants to kill somebody and they do it. Right? So I'm so annoyed. Farhan just taken me off so badly. We had this deal. He did this. He's ruined my life. I want to kill him. And I say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. I don't do it. That means I'm a good person. The bad person gives in. So you're not good because you're pure and you don't have bad ideas. Right? You're good because the bad ideas come to you and you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. And you protect yourself from them. Right? Because if you don't say A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, the bad idea, then next plan, how am I going to do this haram? The haram idea, right? Or Abdurrahman, yeah, he sells drugs. And then next I'm like, what other job would he do? So where'd you get these ideas from? Aslan, where'd you get those ideas? Satanic ideas, really bad, having sort of done it other people. What's the next step? Now I'm going to start talking about it. I'm just going to ask Farhan, Joe, what does that guy do actually? Right? I think he... Right? Right. So that's why it's haram. So if I know this guy prays 5 times a day, anyway, that's called su'at dhan, having a bad opinion of somebody for no reason. Where did you get those ideas from? I'm trying to call for Abdurrahman. Oh, busy talking to some woman. Where'd the idea come from? So the good person has the idea, but they say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, they get rid of that idea. That's a su'at dhan. You have the same ideas. Right? And the shaitan, these ideas could come to you. But what's the difference? Do you accept them or do you reject them? Right? So it's not about being, mashallah, and the shuyukh, they're all angels. They're not angels. There's nobody called angels. Angels are called angels. We're not angels. We have bad ideas, bad thoughts. It's normal. But you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem, and you don't accept those thoughts. You don't accept those ideas. Right? طيب. So these things come to you, you say, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. So, A'udhu bi rabbil falaq. Who knows what Rabb means? We did it in the Fatiha. Lord of the manna. He's above you, controls you, hates you, abuses you. Murabbi. Right? So we said the Rabb does not, when you say Lord, doesn't mean the guy who's above you and he's going to say, Yalla, get on with it, work for me. That's not what Rabb means. The Rabb means the cherishing owner. He values you. He loves you. He wants the best for you. Tarbiyah is education. Right? I know that I don't know in Farsi. All I know is Bayt Tarbiyah. I don't know the word Ab Tarbiyah. Tarbiyah. You got the professional. Tarbiyah. What does it mean?
It's me.
So
we said Tarbiyah.
Yeah. So if I say Bayt Tarbiyah Nakadi.
Then we say, I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, so what is tarbiyah? Tarbiyah, it means akhlaq, right? It means like good.
Yeah.
But what it originally means is raising people and teaching your children how to be good. Right? So I'm the parent and I want my son doesn't know how to put his shoes on. I teach him how to put his shoes on. He doesn't know how to pray. I teach him how to pray. He doesn't know how to speak the truth. I say, don't lie. Say good things. That's called tarbiyah. So don't shout. Don't fight. That's called tarbiyah. I am raising him. So that's murabbi. The Rabb means the one who you're low and he brings you up. You're weak and he brings you up. That's Rabbi. Not the person who's above you and wants you to abuse you. So we say a Lord, okay, Lord, fine. It means Lord. But that's not what it means in Arabic. It means cherishing owner, the one that loves you and wants the good for you. That's your Rabb, right? So قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّي, say, I seek protection in the Lord of Al-Falaq. Al-Falaq. Right? This is what Surah Al-Falaq. And so Al-Falaq is usually translated in Arabic to mean the daybreak. Break of dawn. Fajr. Fajr and Falaq are the same thing. Right? They're the same thing. But Falaqa means to break something. Fajr is the same thing. Fajra. A fajr is a corrupt person. Right? Fujur means like corruption, or also zina, things like that, because you're breaking out of normal things. You're breaking away from the what's decent. It's completely vile and bad, right? Faliq al-habbi wa nawa, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is described as the one who breaks the seed, or breaks the earth open for the seed. That's falaqa, right? فانفلق, the sea broke in half for Sayyidina Musa in falaqa, it broke in half. That's falaqa. So what's happening is you have this dark night and it breaks. That's called falaq, that break of dawn. That's what we say in English, break of dawn, right? When that's the first of light, you see. Or it's called fajr as well, because fajr means to explode. Infijar is an explosion, right? Should that in Farsi as well? Infijar, right? Explosion, right? That's from fajr, to explode. And so it says, what is it? And so what is the picture then? The picture then is you have this dark night. The physical dark night is dangerous, right? Because there's things out there you can't see. The dark night of your life, I'm in a mess. I don't even know where I'm going. I can't get out of the haram. I can't get out of anything. I'm lost. Say, A'udhu bi Rabbil Falaq. There's the one who is in charge of this darkness. Ask him. So it's almost like saying, he who can break off the night can save you from the darkness that you're seeking for protection from. Right? That's what it is. So you're in a darkness, you're lost, you're confused, you don't know what it is. Allah made the confusion, and Allah made the darkness, and Allah made the lostness that you're in. You say, oh Allah, you control me and you control this thing. I seek protection from this thing. Right?
Does it mean day and night? Like you broke out like.
Yeah, the break. That there's the first light. That's called the break of day in English. In Arabic, it's called fajr, or it's called falaq. Okay. And so, what is Surah Al-Ikhlas? Focusing in Allah alone. Allah, you're one, and I turn to you alone. And now Surah Al-Falaq is turning to Allah in the mess that you're in. You're in a complete mess. Life's so hard. Life's so confusing. There's all these things. Turning to Allah in the mess. Right? And so that's the difference between the good person and the bad person, is that we're both in a mess. We both have temptations to the haram, all these things, the same thing, right? وَلَقَدْ what was it? لَقَدْ it says وَلَقَدْ لَقَدْ هَمَّتْ بِهِ وَهَمَّ بِهَا لَوْلَا أَنْ رَأَى بُرْهَانَ رَبِّهِ. Surah Yusuf, very, 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 very eloquent. It said, she indeed resolved to do something very haram with him, and he indeed resolved to do something very haram with her. لولا رأى برهان ربي, had he not seen the sign of his Lord. So the picture is almost like a video. You know, sometimes when on a film, you'll see something happen, and then it doesn't, and then it unhappens. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala shows you this picture. Here is Yusuf, Sayyidina Yusuf, and here's Zulaykha. The haram happened had it not been for Allah. So it's like it happened, but it didn't. Had it not been for Allah. So he's in the same mess that we're in. Same scenario. What's the difference? The connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Seeking protection from Allah in the darkness. Right? There's a funny story actually about a similar kind of thing. There was this guy who was invited to, he knocked on someone's house, and this lady said, yeah, just come in for a second, I just need to, you can get it from this thing. And he thought, okay, I've got to walk inside the door. When he walked inside the door, she locked the door. Same kind of story. What did he do? He was like, oh man, what on earth do I do now? She's like, okay, before we do anything, do you mind if I just go and have a shower? Because I need to fix it. She's like, fine. She said, do you have a razor? He's like, yeah, fine. So he went in, he shaved his beard off, and he shaved his eyebrows off. He's like, now I'm ready. She's like, what's this? Like, you look like an idiot, right? And so him and all his students would do that from that day on. They'd all shave their eyebrows. So none of these people who have no beards and no eyebrows. It looks really weird. right? In the past, they used to shave people's beards off as a disgrace to them, to embarrass you, right? If you didn't fast Ramadan, they'd put you on a donkey backwards and walk you through town, and they put walnuts around your neck, and whoever any little kid who could throw a stone at you could get a walnut, right? So that you know. So make it to embarrass people. So they'll shave your beard off to embarrass you because it was like something that no man would ever do, right? There's a line in Shakespeare like that. It's like there's somebody who doesn't have a beard. It's like, how on earth can you be a man? How on earth can you be a man? You don't have a beard. This doesn't make any sense, right? And so it's very very important. There's a particular reason. I apologize today. There's going to do a million tangents, but there's a particular Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. One of the things Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does in the Sharia is makes things clear for us. So this is your mummy, this is your daddy, this is your sister, this is your wife, this is your daughter, this is your grandmother. This is a man, this is a woman. This is what men do, this is what women do. And so one of these things is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made things to make things clear for people. You do think this is what men do, this is what women do. Some of these things are urf, whatever you do in your culture. So in Afghanistan they might do this, and another country they do something else. But there are certain things, for example, men, you have a beard. It makes a clear distinction. So then when your children grow up, they know mummy, daddy, men, women, very clear, as opposed to the confusion that people are seeing today, right? That confusion is not healthy. It's not healthy and it's dangerous, and people will suffer in the long term. But in the meantime, let people work things out. But people suffer because of these things. It's not an easy place to be in. Khair. So what is it? Falaq, Surah Falaq. You're in this mess, and you can get rid of this night. You can save me from the horror film that I'm in, right? Being chased by the vampires, if only if it was sunrise, whatever it is, right? You can save me from this mess, right? So and then it says, min sharri ma khalaq. And this is very, very profound. From the evil, the who created? Min sharri ma khalaq. So I seek protection in the Lord of this mess around me that I'm controlled, and He can make the dawn, and He can save me from the darkness. Min sharri, from the evil, ma khalaq, that He created. Who created evil? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right? Remember last week or the week before we were talking about in Afghanistan before Islam, what did they used to have? They used to be Majus, right? And the Majus, what did they believe? Good God, bad God. Fight, right? What did we say it was? Which computer game? Tekken. Go. Right, right? You know Tekken, right? Okay. So that's what they used to believe in. There's a good God and a bad God. And when you do good things, you help the good God. When you do bad things, you help the bad God. It's not like that. There's just Allah. There's Allah. He created the shaitan. He created you. He created your sins. He created everything. He's in control. Every single thing's in His control, right? And so I'm in a mess. There is temptations of the haram and the halal around me. And so what do? Is this new? Is there something new? No. Every single person who ever existed went through the same temptations and difficulties that you did. Same thing. There's nothing new. But what's the difference between a good person and a bad person? I'm in a mess. Turn to Allah. Turn to Allah. Oh Allah, how on earth am I supposed to get out of this? And you turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so, where does the evil come from? Oh, there's evil because we're in America. In Afghanistan, there's no evil. Oh, mashallah. Where does all the marijuana and the heroin in the world come from?
Opium.
Opium, right? In Afghanistan, there's nothing haram. In Mecca, there's nothing haram. Right? There's haram everywhere. Wherever you go, there's haram. Right? But what is the difference? The good person, the bad person, not because you're in America, not because you're in Afghanistan, not because you're in England, and not because you're in Medina, is what you do. There are people in Mecca that have never seen the Kaaba. Some of the people, their job is they make money out of the Hujjaj, they've never seen the Kaaba in their life. Maybe they never prayed. Oh, but they're next to the Kaaba, fine. Right? And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He created evil. Right? He created evil. And we seek protection from that thing. Right? So Allah created you, and created your temptations, it created the haram that you can do and the halal that you can do. So what do? You say, Allah, I am this little lamb, and you're the only thing I can go to. Please help me. Right? Okay, so what does shar mean? Shar means evil. Okay, we have the word shirir. Shirir is an evil person. Shirir. Right? And you have the word sharara, which are sparks. Right? Sparks of that's called sharara. Right? You see that in Farsi as well? Sharara?
You say it in
Urdu, sharara for sparks, right?
Shararat.
Right?
Somebody that messes around.
Yeah, sharara. But yeah.
It's like two terms.
Yeah, but sharara is literally a spark. So what is the spark? It's a little thing that if you put dry grass next to it, it's going to have a fire. That's spark. Someone who wants to spark a fire, right? In Liverpool, they say, "You're sparking me? Are you sparking me? Are you trying to start a fight with me? Right? You're sparking me?" Okay. Inshallah, I'm starting a course, Liverpudlian 101 next term.
I'm a big Liverpool fan.
Alhamdulillah.
Big red.
Okay, so shar means
Evil.
evil. Shirir,
Shararat.
what does that mean? Shirir.
Sharir.
Like it's the opposite of Siddiq. So on the same sound, Shirir,
Enemy.
Siddiq. So Siddiq, very, very true, and Shirir, very, very evil. Very, very evil. Shirir. This is the Shadda. Shirir. So Shadda means Shidda. When you see a Shadda, it means a Shidda, intensity. Really wicked and horrible. Shirir. Sharara and spark. So that's the Shirri ma khalaq. Who created evil people? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah created evil people to test you. Right? And so it says min khalaqa. What does khalaqa mean? It means created. Khaliq, the creator. Abdul Khaliq, the slave of the creator. But what does it really mean to khalaqa? Khalaqa literally means to measure and make. So you didn't just make it, you cut it out and you carefully designed it. So it has a sense of being carefully measuring something. Right? There's a saying, I don't even know what it means, but they say some people they do khalaqa and then they do fari. And some people do fari and then they do khalaqa. Fari means to cut the leather. So some people they measure, I guess there's some people who are clever and some people are stupid, something like that. Some people they measure how should the leather be exactly and then they cut it out. And other people cut it out and then they measure it. Right? So they said khalaqa means to measure it out. That's khalaqa. How exactly should things be? That's khalaqa. Right? Khalq means people as well. Right? Rawa an khalqin kathir. MashaAllah narrated for many, many people. Khalq. Right? Khuluq means character. Right? There's your khalq, how you are, and your khuluq, how you are inside. Right? Khalq, your physical, what's your body, and khuluq, how you are inside your heart, right? Your character. Okay. So question, what is evil? So we know Allah created it. We know that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created evil. But what is evil?
Anything that harms you is evil.
Okay, so Allah is evil. Because Allah is a dar.
Allah is not evil. Allah is the one that created evil to
Yeah,
test
but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's name is ad-dar, the one that harms. So therefore Allah is Allah evil.
He's the creator of everything.
So here my point number 3 is harm and destruction. We can call that evil. So when a tree falls down and breaks another tree, is that evil or is that?
Destruction.
That's destruction, right? Harm, destruction. Imagine if there was no human beings. There were just trees and animals. If an animal killed another animal, is that evil?
Depends on the situation, right? I feel like if it was on purpose and like for a wrong.
Yeah, like the lion on purpose killed the gazelle.
No, because that's what it's created for. Right?
Okay, fine. So what if a tree falls down another tree? The wind just blew it over and that's it. So that's not evil. So destruction and harm is not evil.
Allah is the owner of everything. He's the owner of destruction. He's the owner of.
Okay. What about this? I'm just going to try something that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Okay. What about pain? So is pain evil?
Does the tree feel pain? That's the question.
I don't know. Let's say that. Let's say if I cause pain to Farhan, is that evil?
Yeah.
Okay. What if Farhan is sick and just feels the pain of feeling sick? Is that evil?
No.
So it's good. You don't mind that. It's fine.
How is this evil?
So what does it mean to say evil?
think it's action, right?
So I think it's fair to say that it's relative, right? So when it's relative to what? So you say this is if you like trees being as they are and the tree falls down, then you say it's bad that the tree fell down. That's called bad, but it's not actually bad, because if the tree didn't fall down, then there wouldn't be any moss growing on it, because moss used to grow on trees. If there wasn't any moss, then there wouldn't be any the animals that live on the moss. It's all part of the system, right? And so that's all relative. What does that mean? When you see things bad happening in your life, it's just because you didn't want that to happen. That's why it's called bad. You labeled it as bad because you didn't want that to happen. But it's not actually bad, right? Pain is not actually necessarily bad. It can be useful, right? And so what is bad then? Bad is bad. Your actions are human actions that are bad. That's what you can label as bad. So therefore you can't, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala creates evil, Allah created, for example, somebody committing zina. Allah created the person, created the zina, and created everything. And the mess that came after it, and the family feud, Allah created all of that. Is it bad that Allah did that? No. Their choice to commit zina was haram. That's bad. Because you're talking about their human action, what you did as a human. But what Allah does is not considered shar, it's not considered evil. So Allah created everything, but it's not considered bad that Allah did it. If Allah causes you pain, it's not considered bad. If Allah makes a tree fall down on another tree, it doesn't, if Allah creates coronavirus, it's not bad. Coronavirus is not good or bad, right? Because that's not a human action. But lying is a human action, that's bad. Committing zina is a human action, that's bad. Stealing is a human action, that's bad. Not praying, cheating, whatever it is you talk about, any of these things that you do, having bad opinions about other people and accepting them in your mind. The random idea comes to your mind, then you say, yeah, it's probably the case. Yeah, it's probably like that. It's like, where'd that come from? The thought came to you, that wasn't your choice, but you accepted it, that's your choice, right? You're responsible now. And so what is bad? Bad is bad human actions. What you chose to do that was wrong. You knew it was haram and you did it. That's bad. If Allah creates you and makes you do haram things, that's not bad. If Allah creates lions that kill gazelles, that's not bad. If Allah makes one planet destroy another planet, the sun blow up and destroy the universe, that's not bad. So destruction is not bad. Pain is not bad. A human action is good or bad. A human action that Allah loves is good. A human action that Allah does not like is bad. Okay? So what does evil mean? Shar is in Arabic. What does it mean then? What is evil?
Describe it. I'll be honest, I zoned up for like 20 seconds.
Okay. Okay. Abdurrahman.
What is evil?
Yeah.
Evil is the bad action that person.
Bad action that someone intentionally does. So if I'm asleep and I roll over, somebody, may Allah protect us all, some people, they fall asleep on their kids and they suffocate their kids and didn't realize it. Happens. Is that good or bad?
Well, it's bad, but it's not like...
It's bad because we didn't want it to happen.
Yeah,
but it's not actually evil. There's nothing actually wrong with it.
Yeah.
Right? Whereas what you chose to do, the bad action that you chose to do, that's considered evil, that's considered bad, that's considered wicked. That's what we're talking about when we say bad. Otherwise, there's no such thing as bad.
Would you say bad and evil are two different categories though? Like,
yeah, they're two different things.
Yeah.
So evil is a moral thing. Good and bad is, did you want that to happen or not? Right? I didn't want that tree to, so it's bad that the tree fell down. Let's pick it up. Okay, what is it? Are you trying to say that it's bad that Allah made it happen? No. I'm just saying that I didn't want it to happen. The tree fell down and broke my house. I didn't like that. Right? Right. So when you see Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is ad-dar, Allah is the harmer. Okay, well therefore he's bad. No, it's not bad. Because it's not a human action. You can only say a human action is good or bad, is evil or good. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a nafi' wal dar. He is the one who benefits, he's the one that harms. He can choose what he wants. As you mentioned, Saad, he owns everything, he can do what he wants. Completely different. Okay? So pain is not bad. Suffering is not bad. Harm is not bad. Destruction is not bad. Human actions are bad. That's what we can label as that is a bad thing or an evil thing.
But human actions can make those things bad though, right? Pain, like if I'm causing him pain.
Yeah, so the pain is not bad. You're intentionally choosing to cause the pain is bad. Wine is not bad. You're drinking the wine is bad. My drinking the wine is halal because I'll find a dispensation somewhere. Fatwa shopping, right?
Farhan's
no, he zoned in again. He's like, whoa, you should zone out on that one. What?
It's like, I'll be honest with you, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay. So did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create pain? Yes. Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create destruction? Yes. Did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create your moral actions? Yes. He also created you and your actions, right? Right. Some ulama in the past, they made a big mistake and they said Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't create our actions. Because if Allah created actions, how could we be responsible? They made a big mistake and it's completely wrong. Some ulama, they did that in the past, some big ulama. It's like we're like free, like basically Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just like said, basically, listen, you've got 60 years, go ahead, do what you want. But it doesn't make any sense because it's preordained. Qada and qadr, we're no predestination.
So like,
right? Wallahu khalaqakum wa ma ta'malun. Allah created you, and that was what you do. It's in the Quran.
So this is like the thing that people talk about. Like, there was a question, right? Like, if Allah like predetermined everything, then why is there bad deeds like on us, right?
This is a very huge topic.
Exactly, it's always a very big topic. Right?
So I'll give you a clever answer. Someone asked,
kind of like,
someone asked that to Imam Shafi. They said if they asked Imam Shafi 3 questions, I can't. There's 2 of them. I remember one of them. I can't remember. So Imam Shafi, they said, why is the shaitan going to go? What's the point of shaitan going to hell if he's made out of fire? Like, what's the point? If he's made out of fire, you put fire in fire. Who cares if you're made out of fire? What's the point? Number 1. Number 2, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala destined that we do sins, why does Allah punish them for us? So Imam Shafi didn't answer. Just picked up a piece of hard clay on the floor and threw it at the guy.
Awesome response.
And the guy said, why did you do that? I said, why do you care? Why are you blaming me? If it's preordained, why are you blaming me? Right? And if you made out of clay, why does it hurt?
What I answer?
Right? If you made out of clay, why does it hurt? Right? And so the thing is, basically, there's a big difference between my heart beating. I cannot choose whether or not my heart beats. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Farid, whether you like it or not, you're going to be damned to hell forever because, on a Monday night your heart was beating. I said, don't do it. Man, you did it. And I'm like, Allah can do whatever you want, but at the end of the day, I'm not actually responsible. I didn't actually do anything. Allah can punish me. He can do whatever he wants. But at the end of the day, I didn't choose my heart to beat. Right? I'm not David Blaine or some of these people who can stop their heart bleeding. Right? It's not within my hands. It is within my. If I'm going to sit here or not sit here, that is within my hands. So I know that Allah destined that at 8:06, Allah destined that Farid Dingle will be sitting here, and there was no other possible way. But I don't feel that happening, do I? I don't feel that happening. I don't feel forced. Nobody is forcing me. I'm doing this of free will, meaning I feel free. Right? You feel free. Look at anything you did in the past. MashaAllah, you fasted last Ramadan. That was qada and qadr, so I'm not going to reward you for that. So it was pretty difficult. I mean, it was hard. I didn't remember qada and qadr stopping me from eating. Right? I didn't feel that. I didn't see the Prophet ﷺ and the Sahaba didn't see qada and qadr helping them win the battle. It was really hard. So they didn't feel that. And so the fact that you do not feel qada and qadr stopping you from doing something or making you do something means that at the end of the day, you're doing it. You look at anybody else, you say, well, I stole your car, but qada and qadr, yeah. Bro, I know that. Why do you laugh? Why is it funny? Why are you ticked off? Because you've been in the same scenario and you know that qada and qadr, yeah, it's there, but it doesn't, you don't feel it, and you are making choices. You do feel guilty for the past sins, and you feel, alhamdulillah, I did right things in the past. I had a bad choice and a good choice, and I went through the moral difficulty of choosing the right thing, right? And so even though yes, everything's completely in Allah's hand and He created everything, the fact that you felt the free choice makes it your action, and it's you. And Yawm al-Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will say, well, Abdurrahman, this is innama hiya a'malukum. These are just your actions. Then you'd be like, no, actually, qada and qadr. You won't feel like that. And if you look at something you did, like you say, think about it, you don't have to say it. Something you did, it's like haram in the past, say it, yeah. Do you feel guilty? Say yeah. Do you feel like it was thrown at you? No. That was you. That was your choice. You could do the right thing, you could do the wrong thing, you chose the wrong thing. Yeah, astaghfirullah, that's true. I feel that guilt. And the other side of something, you had a good choice and a bad choice, and you made the good choice. Can you remember? You said, I'm going to come to class today, not come to class today. You had a choice. There was 2 options. You could watch the game, you could eating pizza, you could do anything else. Lots of interesting things you could do. But you said, come. Okay, well, you made that. There was a choice. You did the right choice, inshallah.
You were not.
Huh? and so so you felt it, but it's qada and qadar, yeah, but you didn't feel qada and qadar pushing you in the door. Okay, so why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create evil then? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create things that we don't like in life? Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala create the sins that you've committed in your life? Why did Allah do that? As a test. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does everything out of wisdom. There's wisdom in everything. So what does that mean? It means you do not have to understand or agree.
Yes.
You do not have to understand or agree. So I say, fine, explain this to me. Why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala choose that the last prophet should be from Saudi Arabia? Oh, I don't know. There we go. Proof that your religion is wrong. It's like, I do not have to explain. The fact that you can't explain it does not mean anything. Does not prove anything. The fact that I don't know, you don't know, does not mean anything. You do not have to have an explanation why somebody's, this happened. So why is it that when you say my son died and after that, khalas, no way, can't believe in God anymore. It's impossible because you can't accept that there's a valid explanation for it. And you don't have the modesty to accept that there's a wisdom in that. You say that's impossible. I'm sorry, it's impossible. Right? Farhana, she picked me up today, and it's like you were 2 minutes late, and it's like there's impossible. It's impossible. You had a reason. No, have some humility. Maybe there's a reason why he's 2 minutes late. Maybe there's a reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who knows everything and you don't know anything, who can do everything, there's a reason for that. You have humility. Be a little bit humble and say it's possible that there's a million reasons why that happened. Right? There's a million reasons why that happened. And a very good example of this, and maybe you can ask the younger gentleman today, Yosemite. Have you heard of Yosemite?
Yes.
Yosemite Park?
Yes. It's like you're like Tahoe, yes.
Right? So for next week, I want you to go online and to look up Yosemite Park. What happened in Yosemite Park when they killed all the wolves? You know the story?
No. But I know like the wolves have been like dead, like the breed wise in California.
Right? But so wolves are good. Are they good or are they bad?
Bad.
Bad. Right? What do you say? What is it in Farsi? A wolf?
Good.
Good. It sounds bad. Like wolf sounds nice. Gurk sounds like scary, Yeah. It's like Magog or something like that, right? Gurk. Yeah.
You never know, Lana. Gog and Magog. You'll get that started right now.
Anyway, so what happened when they killed all the Gurkha? Right? That was good, right? Got Farsi coming out. Yeah. Khalas, what is it? Mekonand. Right. There we go. MashaAllah. What is it? When they killed all the wolves in Yosemite, what happened? Okay, this for next week. Okay, what happened?
The Kowan was Yosemite Park هستن. بس بخورن کل گرگا چی شدن؟ که آدم‌ها مردا کل گرگا رو کشتن چی شده؟ شیخ فرید میگه باز نگفته بیایم باز ما رو بگید خسر رو بگید چی شده؟
می ترجمه میکنه؟ طيب. Okay, so you don't have to understand and you don't have to agree. I can't accept that people go to hell. I don't accept that. Why would Allah create all these people and send them to hell? So many people are going to go to hell forever. I can't accept that. I'm sorry. I'm not going to teach anymore. Goodbye. Who's got the problem? You've got the problem. Right? You don't. Allah's not asking you to agree or disagree. Allah's not asking your opinion. Right?
It doesn't need your opinion.
It doesn't need your opinion. Right? So this is astaghfirullah. This one kafir, he said this. He said, the only person who deserves to be in hell forever is who? This kafir, he said, Allah himself. Just imagine, that's what he said. The only person who deserves to be in hell forever is Allah himself. That's what he said. So because you said that, that's why you're in hell forever. Because you have your attitude, that's why people like you are going to be in hell forever. Because you have this attitude, you have this jur'at, right? You're not a slave. You don't have it in you to be a slave. You don't have the humility to say, oh, I'll just leave it to you. Part of our sujood to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, oh Allah, you have destined that many, many people will go through life receive the message, say no, on a Yawm al-Qiyamah, they'll say, go into hell, and you're never going to come out. Ever. 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 And you have to swallow that and then say, Alhamdulillah, I accept it from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So no, I can't accept it. Well, there's something wrong with you then. There's something wrong with you that you can't accept it. Allah is the judge, you have to accept it. Okay, so قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقْ وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in general the evil that He has created, and then a specific evil. وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ. And from the evil of a darkening thing, from a darkening thing when it fills up. We don't actually know exactly what this means. We don't know exactly what this means. What is غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ? غَسَقَ, you say, غَسَقَتْ عَيْنُهُ. His eye poured with tears. Right, something flowing coming out. So that's called a غَسَقَ. غَسَّاق is the pus that will be collected into a drink that the people of Kuffar, the Kuffar and hell will drink. That's called غَسَّاق. The thing that's pouring, has a sense of pouring. Right? غَسَقَ. And so many of the ulama, they say, مِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبْ means from the evil of a thing that spreads out, either night, the darkness of the night when it spreads out. That's what it means. So when the night spreads out, that's what it means. There's a hadith in Tirmidhi, which is sound, where the Prophet ﷺ pointed to what we think was the moon. He pointed at the moon. He said, Aisha, seek protection from this because it is the ghasiq. Right? And so it could be that the moon is spreading out into the sky, or it could be that it's the darkness that is spreading out into the, when it gets dark, spreading out of the darkness. It's not clear. Now, who knows about witchcraft? For how professional?
Is it like
Honestly,
what do you call it, Varsity? Yeah, is it? You know what that is?
Yeah. Professional.
Like the cars and stuff. Is that,
Yeah, midnight. I got my class actually.
Some nights,
psychic
one night
right
in
here
Medina,
next door,
another
yes.
night in Makkah.
I've actually been there, bro. 2 years ago.
There's a psychic right next door.
Yeah.
Some crazy fortune.
Okay. Anyway, so what do they have anything to do with the moon?
Does witchcraft have
Anything to do with the moon?
Don't they worship the moon?
It's related a lot to do with the moon.
The werewolves come out in the full moon.
Yeah. But witchcraft, they particularly they do spells at a very particular time of the month.
I heard something in the ceiling. I
Yeah, that's something I'm saying. That's definitely a witch.
Did you hear that?
We definitely have to move to another mosque. There we go. Okay, so Allahu A'lam, we don't know exactly what this verse means. It could mean the darkness spreading over the night, or it could mean it could be the moon at a particular time of which. So if you look at witchcraft, Wicca, particularly WICCA, Wicca, you go online and be like, okay, when to do this thing, when to do, and a lot of the things they talk about is which time of the month to do things. There is something about the full moon which is a bit odd. If you go, for example, in the accident emergency, it's always when the full moon there's more cases for some reason. I don't know why. Like people behave differently during the full moon. There is something different. Well, Allahu A'lam.
They say that like crazy come out.
Crazy, loonies, right?
Yeah, throw loons and stuff.
It does have, it has effect, right? And so Allahu A'lam. Anyway, so the point is, but people, there is a thing in witchcraft to use the different times of the moon. So Allahu A'lam, it's possible that the verse means seek protection from this particular time of the month where the magicians and witches and warlocks, they do their magic more and that it has more power. Because magic is true, as we're going to see in a second. Right? The verse is going to mention magic in a second. Magic is a real thing. And again, many ulama or certain ulama of the past, they made a huge error. They said magic is kind of like, it's a trick. Like trick, sleight of hand, like, oh, whoa. They said it's not actually real, because obviously magic couldn't exist, could it? Like, does modern science recognize magic? No. So many things, many of the ideas that people had it now, similar ideas they had in the past. They came along to the Quran and Hadith, like obviously there's no such thing as magic because that's stupid. We don't believe in things like that. Because that's like weird stuff. So just the same mentality people have today. Whatever's weird, we don't believe it. The same thing. Yeah, it talks about magic with Musa. It's like probably wasn't magic. It was more like that they had. Yeah, exactly. There was a rope, and he made it look like like a snake or whatever, And they said, when the magic was done to Shaitan, it doesn't mean that, And when magic was done to the Prophet and stuff, it's not really magic because that wouldn't make sense. How could how could a prophet of Allah be affected by magic? Doesn't make sense, etc. It's like, well, it's there in the Hadith, it's there in the Quran. So it doesn't make sense. Well, what does that even mean? Doesn't make sense. What exactly do you mean? It's actually illogical. Meaning I'm saying 1 + 1 = 3, or is it just far-fetched? There's two different things, right? It's far-fetched. Like if you tell me, for example, oh yeah, actually my friend is actually a magician, he actually does magic, I wouldn't believe you, right? Because it's far-fetched. It's like whatever, but it's like no, magic is real. It's a real thing, right?
Is that why 13, 14, 15 is recommended to fast?
Possible, yeah. It's possible. So you're working against the evil. Generally speaking, this is what you should do. Whenever there's evil happening, you work against it, either in your own life or in other people's lives. So, for example, what was it? Imam Nawawi says, if you pick up the Mus'haf, or you intentionally without wudu, what should you do? You should repent, and you should write out the Mus'haf. Working the other direction, right? So on Yawm al-Qiyamah, you say, MashaAllah, the best thing that ever happened to you was when you picked up the Mus'haf without wudu, because that made you do all these good deeds. You killed somebody, what should you do? Open an orphanage, feed people. You committed zina, go and get married, right? You do something haram, do something halal that's more than it, right? And so that connection, there's people doing bad things, you do good things. New Year's Eve, what do? Go and do a khatam that day. Try and do a khatam, finish a khatam before, the morning, whatever. Because everyone's partying, whatever. So you try and do something else, right? So وَمِن شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ إِذَا وَقَبَ. Right? And what does waqaba mean? It means when the light goes from something. So that the question is, what does that even mean? So when the Prophet pointed at the moon and said that's the ghasiq, when the light goes, what do you mean when the light of the moon goes out on Yawm al-Qiyamah? Yeah, so it's what is it exactly? Is it like maybe the Prophet was pointing at the darkness, not at the moon itself. We're not really sure. So we don't really know what this verse means. Either it means the darkness when it spreads out, and then the light of the darkness, the light of the sky completely goes out when it's pitch black, or does it mean the moon when it gets dark, meaning on Yawm al-Qiyamah, like that's the evil, the terrible thing on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Be careful of Yawm al-Qiyamah, basically. Or does it mean something else? Allah, we don't really know exactly. It's one of these things. And so it says, say, I seek refuge in the Lord of the dawn from the evil that he has created and from the darkening thing when its light goes out. Right? Now the question is, it says it doesn't say from the darkening thing, it says from a darkening thing. Which is a bit odd. Why does it say that? From a darkening thing. Right? What's the difference between that was the lunch and that was some lunch?
Some lunch or a lunch?
Okay, that was a lunch.
Well, you say the lunch, a lunch.
What's the difference?
So the lunch, I think it's more like you're like describing it as like.
That was that was the lunch.
Yeah.
So like, that's what it is. If I say that was a lunch.
It's like kind of like describing it for your home.
Meaning it's already gone.
No, that was what if I said the mashallah? What if I said mashallah? What if I said mashallah that was the lunch, or mashallah that was a lunch?
Well, a lunch, I think it's just kind of for yourself, right?
Okay.
No, sorry.
Okay. What do you understand? I say mashallah that was a lunch, or mashallah that was the lunch.
Meaning is you had a good lunch.
Oh, good lunch. Where'd you get the word good from?
Huh? Because you said mashallah.
Okay, come on. Okay, that was a lunch. That was a lunch.
A lunch.
That was a lunch.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. It's more descriptive on your own, so you know it's a good lunch.
Yeah. So where'd you get the word good from?
I guess it's just from.
Okay, if I said that was the lunch, do you get the word good? Okay, so what does the indefinite, when I make it indefinite per a, what did it tell you?
I'm sorry?
What did it tell you when I changed it from the to a? Suddenly, for some reason, you thought it was good.
Yeah.
What's a and the got to do with good?
Yes.
Right? It's a bit weird.
Yeah.
In fact, we do this all the time. In English, the word a or some is used for lots of things, not just the fact that it's unknown. It's not just the fact that I say, mashallah, that was That was some lunch or a lunch. You made it. Why did you make it a or some, which is indefinite? Because suddenly it's amazing.
I guess personally, I wouldn't take it as good, or I take it as it's some kind of description. I wouldn't take it like it's good. It could be bad. Oh, that was
Yeah, but we do use that. That was
Yeah.
that mashallah. That was some speech.
Yeah.
Okay, that was some. Forget the word mashallah. That was some speech. The word some, as opposed to that was the speech. So when you make it indefinite, it suddenly becomes amazing. But why? A doesn't mean amazing, but we do that a lot in English. We do that a lot in Arabic as well. So we will say in Arabic, for example, here we go. So here it says from a thing that spreads out, from a darkness that spreads out, i.e., what a darkness that spreads out, a mighty, something really big, right? And so a lot of the time we do that in Arabic. It happens a lot. When you say a, and it means a big thing, right? The tricky thing is sometimes we use the opposite. I knock on the door, and I speak to Abdul Rahman at his door, and he closes the door, and his wife asks him, "Oh, who was that?" "Oh, some guy." Why does he say some guy? Just like
I want to put some significance good on
no. Opposite, the opposite. Oh, just some guy. Just. No, what does he mean? Why would you say that? Oh, just some. Okay, your mom asks you, "Oh, who are you talking to?" "Oh, just some guy." Why do you do that?
Because you want to make, you don't make it a significant.
You're making it insignificant.
You want to make it
So sometimes the word some or a makes it insignificant. Same thing in Arabic. Sometimes you make something really big by saying a, sometimes you make it really small by making a. It's really weird, and it's like, what's going on? The issue is, what's happening? When anything is it's limited, it's here. I know exactly what it is. It's the computer. When it's a computer, it's unlimited. It's got this unlimited thing about it. That unlimited sense that like, whoa, it can make it really big or make it really small, do all sorts of things. All right, I'm going to give you an example. In the Quran, قَوْلٌ مَعْرُوفٌ, a nice word, وَمَغْفِرَةٌ, and a forgiveness, is better than خَيْرٌ مِّن صَدَقَةٍ, a charity, يَتْبَعُهَا أَذَى, that's followed by a harm. So what on earth does that even mean? A nice word and a forgiveness is better than a charity followed by a harm. Like what? Doesn't make any sense. What it means is a tiny little bit, very insignificant, small, nice words. Oh, hi, how are you doing? Just small thing. Or maghfiratun, somebody bumps into you, say it's okay. It's better than sadaqatin azimatin, a whole load of charity just followed by a whole load of harm. So mashallah, I built the mosque, now I can control the imam and everybody who prays in the front row and the second row and pray like this. It's like, dude, just don't even build the mosque. What's the point?
Yeah.
You come in and you charity. Oh, I actually, by the way, the orphanage that your granddad went to, I built that. So I'm going to try and control your life, who you can marry, who you cannot marry, every single time. My kids then start controlling your family. It's like, dude, don't do it to begin with. Like, give charity. So it just said a and it had the sense of a lot. It just said a and had a sense of nothing, right? And so it happens like that in English and in Arabic. But sometimes it's just like, whoa, you don't even notice it. Okay, so it says from a darkening thing. What a darkening thing! What a terrible, some kind of crazy darkening thing. Some kind of scary darkening thing, right? That's what it means. The indefinite. Otherwise, it'd be al-ghasit, the darkening thing. Okay, so it says from a darkening thing, from an unfathomable, unknown, scary darkening thing. That's what's being said there. قُلْ أَعُوذُ بِرَبِّ الْفَلَقِ مِنْ شَرِّ مَا خَلَقَ, from the evil that he created, وَمِنْ شَرِّ غَاسِقٍ, from some kind of scary, dark thing when that spreads and its light goes out, whatever that is. Possibly to do with Yawm al-Qiyamah. I'm seeking protection from that, from the terrors of Yawm al-Qiyamah, seeking protection from maybe the middle of the month maybe the full moon or something, I don't know. وَمِنْ شَرِّ النَّفَّاثَاتِ فِي الْعُقَدِ, right? And from the spitters on knots. So this is also, if you look online in the Arab world and other places, there is something that's called knot magic, right? It's one of the ways you do magic. Is it knot, K-N-O? Yeah. So you'd be like, okay, this is going to be Farhan's death. And then they do it like that. That's what they do. And they make a little knot like that and they blow on it. It's called knot magic.
Yeah, part of your brain.
Huh? Exactly, yeah. That's what happened, right? And so these are called, so in Arabic you have many words to do with breathing. So you say nafas. Har nafsi, what is it? Hey nafsi, what's it? There's this thing, Maulana says something, every nafs and every nafas. Right? Your nafas is your breath, and every nafs is a person, right? So why are you called nafs? Because as long as you have a nafs, as long as you're alive, you have a nafas, you have a breath. That's called nafas. Okay? Then you have nafakh, blowing something up, that's called nafakh. Yunfakhu fi sur, to blow into a horn, that's called, you're blowing into a horn, that's called nafakh. And then you have nafath, which is when you go, like when you spit without any saliva, right? That's called nafath. So the nafathat are the women who go on knots. They make a little magic thing and they blow like that. That's called nafathat, right? Nafas, to breathe. Nafakh, to blow into a horn or something like that. To blow something out. Nafath.
You recite this every day. I don't even know.
Exactly. Right?
What is that?
Nafatha means to spit without any saliva coming out. Nafatha. Right? So when you go like this, you don't go, you don't do that, right? That's if he's there, you do it, right? You hit.
Abdul Rahman wakes up in the middle of the night, sees a bed, so I would know he spits on the person right next to him.
Yeah. So my significant other, whenever she says "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem," I always disappear. Why is that? Whenever my wife, she says whenever she says "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem" and she does Ayatul Kursi, I disappear. One of my, mashallah, one of my disciples, my best student is Mr. D, right? Mr. D. Evil, mashallah. I've been teaching him for a long time, but he hasn't really got there. There's a very, very good book, which is it's an amazing book, which is called the Screw Tape Letters. You heard of it?
I have it.
You have it?
Yeah.
So what is it? It is one shaitan writing to his nephew who is learning to be a proper shaitan, and he's training him how to mess people up. And so it's amazing because this is a Christian writing it, and he's showing you how the shaitan works, and it's amazing.
This is written in third person.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So he's like, basically, listen, you like every now and then, like you've done your exams, like dude, you just don't get it. Like you're not doing it the right way. You know how to trick mankind. It's a bit scary. And I think it's recorded all on YouTube, but there's no video, just read. I think by John Cleese. I think audiobook John Cleese. I think it's John Cleese. That's like screw tape letters. It's a bit scary, but it's not good for kids, but it's good for screw tape letters. Yeah. So you can just listen to one, like think about subhanallah. That's how the shaitan tricks you. The shaitan, we're going to stop inshallah. The shaitan, he comes to everybody in their own form. So when he comes to the sheikh, he's a sheikh. When it comes to the drug lord, he's a drug lord. When it comes to the politician, he's a politician. He takes on every single form, and he uses tricks. But he doesn't. But he uses your own tricks. He only uses things that you know. Right? Yeah. So he comes up to Farid and says, "MashaAllah, Farid, you're a sheikh. MashaAllah, you're an alim. Why do you do this? Why don't you, for example, when you finish the lesson, you should show people that MashaAllah, out of adab for the mosque, you should pray 2 rak'ahs. And MashaAllah, there's a good da'wah. Oh, I didn't think about that. He says, MashaAllah, they're really benefiting you because you're a sheikh, and they're all looking at you, and now that they know you're really religious, MashaAllah. And even the microphone, MashaAllah, even the microphone is shinier today. You're a sheikh. What did he do? He created kibr in my heart, and he made me do something to show off. Got you.
Kind of like waswas or like a person?
Even a person, we're going to see it. Then source of nas could even be a person as well. Yeah.
Form of a person, friend.
Advertising. How does advertising work? Great advertising says, "I'm like you. I have the same problem as you, and my life was solved by buying this cream." That's what that's how advertising works. It doesn't say, don't you get frustrated are you frustrated in your accounting job? It's like, yeah, I know what you mean. And it's like, don't you think so I have to put myself in Abdul Rahman, I have to put myself in Farhan in order to convince you. So the shaitan, he comes to you and he uses your own values, and the same thing, then he twists it. He makes it wicked, and he takes bit by bit and makes it to the makruh, to the haram, to the kufr. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. right? But he the trick, right? He doesn't come up to you saying, Farhan, disbelieve in Allah and go worship an idol. You're like, what's the point in that? Farid, can you go to the liquor store and go and buy some whiskey? I've run out. Yours truly shaitan. He doesn't do that, right? He says, it doesn't work like that. He's clever, right? Clever, right? I trained him. Of course he's clever. Right? So stop here, inshallah. Yeah.
You can see the last one. So we
Okay, right? So seeking protection from magic. Magic is real. We seek protection from it, but magic isn't running your life. This is classic Islam Q&A. Shaykh, my marriage is failing because someone did magic on me. So yeah, but do you treat your wife well? Nope. You treat your husband well? Nope. But it's because the reason because of that is because my cousin's friend's uncle saw us at the wedding and did magic on us. That's why our marriage isn't working. Say, okay, why don't you apply the Sharia first and then see what magic is doing? Right? Everything is, my son's degree is not working because of magic. Everything's magic. So magic is real. We don't deny it, but it's not running your life. Just like your accounts aren't running your life. You're running your life. You're responsible for your life. Get on with it, right? It's all these things. Coronavirus isn't ruining your life, right? You're ruining your life, right? So people have to take responsibility. It's not all about magic. It's not all about definitely. There's definitely magic happening because every time I do my exams I fail. It's like, yeah, did you study? No, but okay, I miss Fajr every day. Okay, what time do you go to sleep? 2 o'clock in the morning. Right? So you have to take responsibility.
magic is working of shaitan.
Yeah, but who created shaitan? Allah. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created shaitan, created the magic and everything. It's a real thing, just like coronavirus is a real thing, just like sin's a real thing. But Allah created all of these things. But it's not the cause of everything. People think, because of the shaitan, that's why there's America. It's like, yeah. It's like, no, Allah created America. Allah created you. Allah created everything. It's not like Allah. It's in your hands. There's haram in your life because of you, not because of other people, right? What's the shaitan going to say? I'm not going to call to you. I'm not going to ask you for help, and you're not going to be able to ask me for help. Yawm al-Qiyamah, I just told you. I didn't make you do it. And so we believe in magic. And so magic is real, the evil eye is real, and food is real, and snakes are real, and money is real. But money isn't ruining your life, and snakes in the bushes aren't ruining your life, and the evil eye isn't ruining your life, and magic isn't ruining your life. It's all part of life, right? So the real things, etc. So we're going to come to this, inshallah, next week. Sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sallam. Subhanallah bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.
Really beneficial. So really beneficial.